Hello guys, in today's video we'll be reviewing the rest of the team's 2018, and let's start off with McLaren. And controversially, in my opinion, I think 2018 was worse for McLaren than in 2017 because it just shows McLaren's true colours. They hyped up 2018 so much because they lost the Honda engine and gained the Renault engine, but their chassis was so poor. In the second half of 2018, McLaren were the 9th quickest car, just about quicker than Williams. This is not good enough at all, especially for a team that was aiming for just big results this year and in the last couple of years. And now they've lost their star driver Fernando Alonso, so he's not going to have that experience to develop the car. McLaren's best race of the season was easily the Australian Grand Prix, where Fernando Alonso got 5th and Stoffel Vandoorne ended up in the points, and my word does that feel like a long time ago. And their worst race of the season was basically every race in the second half of the season where they didn't score points. Stoffel Vandoorne has been whitewashed by Fernando Alonso in 2018, and I do highly rate the Belgian, but he just hasn't been on the gas, and I know McLaren haven't treated him right, but maybe it's a good thing that Norris and Sainz are replacing him for 2019, an all new fresh lineup, and maybe this is due to because that Vandoorne just isn't the next generation. Force India's 2018 was just very all over the place. They had a podium in Baku, then went into administration during the summer break, came back as a new team, had to restart, and they still managed to rack up 7th in the championship, even though they could have got a lot more. In the first 2 or 3 races, Force India's 2018 chassis just wasn't their chassis. It was just a testing livery, really. It just didn't seem like a Grand Prix race car, especially for this team who have achieved so much in the past couple of years. And then Sergio Perez's podium in Baku was just a massive lifting point and massive high for the team, and it was great to see because they've been through so much, and yet Perez came up with another storming drive, which is what he has basically every season. But then the team went into administration at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and that was easily their worst race of the season, where both cars got knocked out of Q1 and they just had no pace whatsoever. But then the team returned for the Belgian Grand Prix and racked up P3 and P4 on the grid. What a day for them. Unfortunately, that they couldn't transform that result on race day, but they still got a very solid P5 and P6, and that was one of their best moments of the season, along with Baku. The team in 2018 probably had the 4th quickest car for the majority of the second half of the season, barring probably the last 4 or 5 races, but they definitely did have a decent car, only for Perez not hitting out Ocon at the Singapore Grand Prix, which was the team's probably one of their worst races of the season. And yeah, I don't think they were consistent enough in the second half of the season, especially after Spa. And although it is really bad to see Ocon leaving the grid for 2019, at least Perez is still on the grid because he is very talented and is a very solid midfield driver. In qualifying, Ocon smashed Perez, but in the races, Perez swung back and proved why he has brilliant racecraft and why Ocon definitely hasn't developed to what he could and probably should be in his F1 career. Perez's best race was Baku, no denying it, and his worst race was Singapore, where he was just ridiculously clumsy, in my opinion, being at fault for the Ocon clash and then just disgustingly clashing with Sergei Sorokin. Esteban Ocon's best race for me was Monaco. He was brilliant that weekend, just thrashed that car around the streets of Monte Carlo and smashed Sergio Perez. And I'm not even going to mention his worst race because you all know what that is going to be. But for 2019, Force India, or whatever they will be called in 2019, they'll have more investment and hopefully they'll be fighting at the front of the midfield. Sauber rose to new heights in 2018 with 2 very good drivers maximising the performance of their chassis. The Alfa Romeo backing definitely came in handy in the second half of the season, as Sauber probably had the 4th fastest car come the end of the season, or at least at pretty much the front of the midfield. There is no doubt that Sauber were helped by that Ferrari engine at the rear of their car, but their chassis still had to be competitive, and it was, and although aerodynamically it wasn't the best in the midfield, just look at Mexico and look at the races where Sauber really did maximise good points. It's a fact, Sauber definitely do have a decent aerodynamic package. Rookie Charles Leclerc racked up 39 of the team's 48 points during the season, probably being one of the best, or if not the best driver of the 2018 season, constantly, consistently, just driving the wheels off of the Alfa Romeo Sauber. It was brilliant to see, and I cannot wait to see that kid next season in the Ferrari. His worst race of the season for me was Shanghai, because he was just so messy that weekend and he just couldn't find his feet in the first 3 races of this 2018 season. And it is so hard to choose his best race of the season, but for me, above Baku, above Catalonia, above France, above Abu Dhabi, for me it was the Russian Grand Prix, where he got best of the rest in P7 and pulled off an absolutely worldie of an overtake on Kevin Magnussen. Marcus Ericsson arguably had his best season in Formula 1 history, racking up 9 points for Sauber, and although he did get very unlucky, he has lost out on his seat for 2019. Whether you agree or disagree with that decision, it's no hiding the fact that he was absolutely annihilated by a rookie teammate who has so much potential. The Swede's best race of 2018 was Bahrain, where he just kept his head down and brought home P9. For me, his worst race of 2018 was Suzuka, where he just embarrassingly crashed into the back of his teammate Charles Leclerc and just had no pace during the weekend. With Raikkonen bringing in his experience for 2019, I expect big things from Alfa Romeo Sauber. Toro Rosso were just helping out their senior team Red Bull Racing for the 2019 season, so I didn't expect big things from them. But their best race of the season was Bahrain, where they just put the car on the track and it just worked, with Pierre Gasly securing P4. And had it not been for a few minor reliability issues, Toro Rosso could have scored a lot more points, but P9 in the championship after being P7 in 2017 does not sound that great. Pierre Gasly for me was not that great in 2018, but good for him that he's got a drive at Red Bull for 2019. His best race of the season was undeniably Bahrain, where he secured P4, but then his worst race of the season was the following race in Shanghai, where he caused a stupid collision with his teammate Brendan Hartley, although there were some miscommunications. But then Brendan Hartley just was not good enough in 2018. He ended up, I believe, was it 19th in the championship? Not good enough. I do feel sorry for him because he did get some bad luck, but he just was not on it this year. He has so many bad races, but his best race for me was the United States, where he started from the back and came home P9 after some disqualifications. And now we move on to Williams, who had an absolute farce in 2018. New designer Paddy Lowe designed an absolute dog of a car, which was easily the worst chassis on the grid. 7 points doesn't sound that bad for a team last in the Constructors' Championship, but this is Williams. Their car was so bad and they only scored points at 2 races. Lance Stroll secured P8 in Azerbaijan, and then Lance Stroll secured P9 in Monza, with Sergei Sorokin coming home in P10. I'm not even going to say the best and worst race of their season because it was just so bad, and we just have to hope that 2019 will be a hell of a lot better for Williams. But guys, that is it for reviewing the teams in 2018, so that's it, and thank you for watching this video, and until next time guys, see you later.